What's up, guys? Welcome to Ongoing Mapper on YouTube, and this is episode 6 of my WICSO. And today, because of Discord polls, we are going to be messing with the Southern French team. Now, the polls in the Discord caused this country to fracture, so I'm gonna break apart the borders and cede some land over to some German countries and this Italy country and the Northern French team. So let's go ahead and see the borders. Alright, this is the fracturing of the Southern French team voted for by the Discord. And here we see multiple countries being created, with lots of different countries getting lots of land. So if you want to look at the comparison to this map compared to the other map, it's a big difference. But I really like the Northern French nation, the French nation, as I should say, the Cyan French team, and it's really going to help us out a lot. But we're going to see a little bit happening in Anatolia, so let's get ready for that. But first we got to make what they discovered, with them discovering Cyprus and pushing further into the Anatolian land. Nothing much really is going to happen here until these two meet. That's going to be rough, but we're going to see lots of expansion from this country, and they meet up with the Greeks. That's not good. This region between the Greeks and the Turks is usually always bad. Maybe I'll try to make it more peaceful or something, to be a little bit different. But other than that, we don't see much happening with this. A little bit more sea territory discovered. And then we'll make Istanbul. I don't know. Or Constantinople, depending on who has control over it. Istanbul and Constantinople. There's always controversy around here. It's a fun place to learn about. But there's always some mess going on. Especially with the Romans, because this was one of their capitals. Which, that caused all the nations to sort of want this, especially Russia. But what we're going to see here is a big Balkan state form, kind of like a Norwegian's Russia, just in the Balkans. And it's just going to be this huge Balkan country with all the people migrating from like over here to in this area to just get away from war. So this is going to be a very prosperous nation. They're not going to see much happening at the start, but they are going to be huge because of population just moving in real fast. Which no nation can complain. All nations would want to start out like this. Very prosperous, good economy, great immigration. A little bit like the US. But this is my version of a Norwegian's Russia. A giant Balkan country, spanning way further than any other Balkan country has in this series. Like these two guys. And Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia is one of my favorite countries on this. I must say that. There's so much I could do with it. Now there's just war stuff I could do with this. Which, this country could have ambitions in the Balkans. But soon we will see a massive war between two alliances that I'm going to be making this episode. Now, I think massive alliances are really useless, but smaller ones are more useful. So we're going to see our first anti-French alliance, consisting of countries who are threatened by France. It's going to be on the fourth layer for this. We're going to see the Portuguese country join the Square Alliance. Hold up, let me redo this shape. There we go. It's going to consist of countries who feel threatened by the French team. Mainly these countries on the Iberian Peninsula. We're going to see this German country, and then the Benelux country. This Benelux country could be very useful in a war since they have existed for a while. They're pretty stable and they have good infrastructure. But what we're going to see here is a team of countries that also wants land. Just a land-hungry alliance. The French Empire is creating their own counter-alliance for their safety, they're calling it, but they're using it to expand. Which any nation would use an alliance to expand like this, especially if they're so land hungry like the French. But what we're going to see here is some German countries that don't get along side with the French just because they hate each other. They're doing it out of spite. Now, an alliance like this will tear the world apart. And then if they get more of Europe involved, everyone's cooked. So, this country right over here, it's been sort of the center between the Baltics and the Balkans. They've been doing prosperous. Been doing very good. And they joined the Square team as funding. Not Square team, Rectangle team. So what we're going to see is this Italian team wanting its old land back. They're doing this out of hatred. So they're going to join the Square team. And then, since everybody's getting involved, Yugoslavia, they want land. We're not going to see the Greeks or the Turks get involved. But we are going to see the Danish join the Square team. Now, the Danes hate the Swedes. The Swedes are going to join the French That means the Finns are gonna just fight the Swedes. They don't like the Swedes because they took territory a long time ago that was in Finland. Like that port. But these guys also took a port, so it's a little hypocritical. They just hate each other. And then Russia is going to do the smart thing and create a small defensive alliance just to stay out of wars. Not Russia, Balkan Union. The Balkan Union. I don't know why I said Russia. The Balkan Union creates this. The Greeks join the circle team. The orange team joins too, just to stay safe. This is controversial for this region, since they all hate each other in this region, but we do see the Prussian team join, just to stay safe. And these guys have thought about unifying with these guys so much. They have great relations with these guys, so they're gonna join up together and have dual capitals. So we're not gonna see any fighting between these guys. I'm gonna put this in the water and erase it. But what we see here is a union.
Power off.
The Prussian Union. Sorry about that. That was my speaker turning off. But what we see here is more German countries wanting to join. Like this German country. They also want full autonomy, but this country don't want that. They want to have sort of like the Habsburgs, two major powers controlling it. No other countries have a say. So, since they're disagreeing, this team puts all their troops on this guy's border. And it's not going to end well. They're going to swiftly invade into their territory, cut off their coast, take their capital, and then bam, they're gone. Now they're forced to join the Union with no autonomy. Well, little autonomy. Their capital city won't even be recognized. But this gives the Union more power in the Baltic Sea because this island's going to help them out a lot. And they're not going to be complaining. Now I just remove that capital, and we're good. Now you may wonder what this is. This is just occupied territory. The southern French countries still exist, but they're currently occupied by the green Italian team and the northern French team, which is now just the French team. This is now just Monaco. That's exactly what they are, just a larger Monaco. But we're done with alliances for today. That was a pretty good recording. I'm gonna go edit this down a lot, and I will see y'all later. Goodbye.